Hopefully, everybody's okay with the Heisman Trophy winner being the best player in college football. No controversy here, right? Let's go! Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame College Football. Welcome into the show, Bishop Frank, Brian Sandlin, whoever else is in here. I'm going to have in the show tonight, special guest, Mr. Cody Sprague, the professor from High Top Sports. Welcome.
What's up, man?
What's up, brother? How you been?
Good, man. Just grinding away.
Right. Yeah. I know you are, man. I know you are. Guys, if you haven't went over and checked out, if you hadn't got a chance to check out High Top Sports recruiting so far, make sure you get over there and do that. Yeah, Pickles, you know what? We'll talk about that in just a second. Make sure you get over there and check that out. It's a great channel. He actually just did an unbelievable breakdown on the 2024 defensive line commits for Oklahoma. I'll just let you tell everybody what you said at the end of the video there. I mean,
best defensive line I've seen so far out of Florida, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama. Who else did I check out? Ohio State. That's the best defensive line that I've seen so far, and I think the best player is not even the main man. No, I think Stoney is very, very, very good, and I get why he got his accolades. I understand that, but I think a guy that is really going to disrupt the middle of the offensive line is Jayden Jackson. I think he's going to be.
There ain't no doubt about that.
Insane.
There ain't no doubt.
Well, and for a quarterback, the hardest pressure is the pressure up the middle, right? Sure. That one at your feet.
Right in your face doesn't allow you to step up in the pocket. Yeah.
Yep. I think he's going to be
They're so polished too. As strong as they are, and they all got that dog in them, you know. Mm-hmm. But they all just they're polished on their moves. I mean, something that I like you were talking about, and guys, again, get over there and check it out. It's High Top Sports Recruiting. You want to check it out. Cody's doing a ton of stuff. You've got something coming. I guess you're going to get the ends and linebackers as well, and then you're going to move over to the offense.
Yeah, ends, linebackers, offense 2.0, which will have it's going to have Hawkins. It's going to have Xavier Robinson. It's going to have a couple other key players. The guys, the class is so big, and I try to keep it within 16 to 18 minutes. It's hard to get everybody. Right. Everybody's like, same thing with Georgia, right? When I broke down the Georgia, everybody's like, you missed him. I'm like, bro, just give me a minute. I will get everybody. I promise. Everybody's going to get their time. But yeah, yep, got some studs in the first video. Those two wide receivers, Zion Kearney, and then the kid out of Georgia, very, very good. Kearney's going to be a day one guy for sure. I think he's going to be one of those guys. And then you have Taylor Tatum, very, very good. Number one consistent running back on pretty much everybody except for I think on three. It's kind of funny. We were talking about that, Shelton and I. And it's like because we saw Hayes Fawcett drop that Gibson was the number one running back, and then it's like a back and forth deal. But you know, like we discovered, the recruiting sites aren't as accurate as what you know what I mean?
None of them are.
Well, 247 has
Tatum
Bass
is number one, and then he had Andy Bass as their number one quarterback. He's not even a quarterback. He's going to come in. Well, he was in high school. He's coming in as a athlete, most likely a running back. but he hurt himself. He got hurt to the point that in his last game that he almost definitely will not play in his freshman season.
ACL, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
or worse.
He tore up his knee pretty bad, man. I don't even know.
They're pretty good at that now, man. They're pretty good at those.
And he's a stud, but I mean, already he was more. Didn't he come in on a PWO? I'm pretty sure, guys. And you guys know this, that this channel here, I don't dig into the way some of these guys do, and stay glued to 247 or On Three or any of them guys. I just don't do it. And we
got a kid out of Mississippi.
I'm excited about this class, but I'm not that guy. But I'm pretty sure PWO, right?
PWO. Okay, that's a dang good PWO.
Yeah.
Because he could have went to a program
they have a good PWO program though, where they're allowing them to get some NIL money and some other stuff that's going to pay for their schooling anyway. So it's not exactly like that. You're not getting anything for school. So, real quick, let me say hello to everybody in here. Sergeant Pickles, thanks a lot, man. I don't agree, so we'll talk about this first. Sandlin, thanks for coming in. Bishop Frank, my man. Stephen G, Hankster, Jackson's a monster in the middle. Yeah, guys, and again, all right. So let's go ahead and get into this Heisman stuff. Though we're going to also talk a little bit about obviously Dillon Gabriel making it official that he is going to Oregon. You've got a couple of guys that made it official their intentions to jump into the draft. One that made his intentions to come back next year in Billy Bowman, which is a huge sigh of relief for, I think, for most of Sooner Nation. And look, so just to kind of finish off what we were talking about though. These guys aren't really getting it right in a lot of areas when it comes to that stuff. And what you'll notice is when you get on there, and I know a bunch of people have already been telling you in the Discord that on the offensive side, you've got to go look at Xavier Robinson. He's a 3-star, according to all the recruiting sites.
Yep.
Wait till you see him.
Well, the problem with the recruiting sites is a lot of some of these kids can't afford to go to camps. Those camps are expensive. Travel, hotel, you're in for 2 days. You have to pay to get into the camp. A lot of people don't realize that if it's not an invite. And even some of the invites is like, could you imagine what it costs for Elite 11?
Yeah.
I bet it's $10,000 to send your kid to Elite 11.
That's if you can, that's even if you make it in.
Yeah.
So, Bishop Frank, the future is now. Hey, listen, this class is going to be something else. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but let's get into the big news of the night. Jayden Daniels, Heisman Trophy winner 2023. As you're seeing, Sergeant Pickles here, obviously being a Penix guy. I mean, listen, I can understand where you're coming from. I'm going to say this. Jayden Daniels' 3 losses came to teams that had a combined 3 losses. Okay. They don't have a defense at all. This is absolutely not a team award. This is the best player in the game. And I got to tell you, I don't think it's close, man. And Penix had some games where he didn't play very good. Now I'm going to tell you that I love Michael Penix. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to be probably the guy out of these guys that may be the best. He may be the best in the league, right? But here's the deal: if you want to look at the stats, even Penix didn't get him in stats. He had him by about 1,000 yards on rushing. He had him by, he had more touchdown passes, better efficiency. I mean, the guy his efficiency down the field is insanity. Down the field, 22 touchdowns, no picks, 67% on down the field throws. That's insanity. He's basically got even better numbers than what Joe Burrow had whenever he won the Heisman.
Yeah.
There's no way you could give this to anybody else. Okay.
Yeah,
Hold on. I do think once LSU had 2 losses, they purposely left him in there to pad stats. That he was their guy. He was there. If without him, what do they got? They have a good receiver. You got to have somebody to throw it to him. This was the guy, man. He's the best player in the country. Bottom line, he had over 1,000 yards rushing, and he had against Florida, he had 350 passing and over 200 on the ground. I don't think it's close, man. I just don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I think he deserves it. I mean, what does LSU get? What's their wins this year without him? I mean, they're not even close. They're a 5-win team. They're worse than Florida probably with that defense. They have
one of the worst defenses in the Power 5. I mean, probably the worst defense, if maybe them or USC. You know, and he also played the toughest schedule by a lot over Penix and Bo Nix.
Oh, so yeah, for sure.
I'll put that in there for you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where
I understand where you're coming from, man. I understand where you're coming from. And the undefeated thing is great.
Washington has a defense, though.
They have a better defense than LSU.
Better than LSU. I mean, what's LSU? They're bottom of the barrel.
The other thing is I think that Michael Penix has an opportunity to move on and win a national championship here. I don't think that, that tells you that was a lot better football team. But this isn't a team award. That's why I think that it's turned into that way too often. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the last 2 years they've had 2 losses. This one had 3.
Jayden definitely had a lot of Heisman moments too. That's something that was talked about a lot. When he went off versus Florida in the fourth quarter, he looked unbelievable. There was another game.
He looked good against Florida State. He was great against Alabama. They just couldn't stop the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no problem with it. And truthfully, Sergeant Pickles, if you let's just say you win a national championship, does it really matter? If your quarterback doesn't win the Heisman.
Look, man, I mean, if you're going to make me bring up stats, we're going to bring up stats because there's no way that you can tell me that he had a better season than Jayden Daniels. And I mean, the one game they almost lost to Arizona State because he played awful. Awful.
Yeah, it's just like the Jordan Travis comparison. Everybody's like, "Oh, Jordan Travis should have won the Heisman." It's like then you go and look at Mertz's passing yards and touchdowns and INTs versus Travis's, and they're the exact same. It's like, what are you even talking about? And Mertz was supposed to be the worst quarterback in the SEC, and he showed out.
But this isn't winning, but this is a team sport. He didn't win by himself. In fact, he would have lost a game on himself if it wasn't for the pick 6 that Washington had against Arizona State.
There's plenty of Heisman winners.
I'm not crapping on Michael Penix, man. I'm just telling you, I don't think they even came close to getting it wrong. That's all I'm saying. What Hank was saying up here about, Kyler is the only other player in history to have over 3,000 passing yards and over 1,000 rushing yards. I don't think that there's no way that you couldn't give it to this guy. You just can't. And the numbers don't lie. It's not a team award. And I understand that you want him to win it or whatever, but he didn't play bad in a single game. He didn't play bad.
Daniels?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he was lights out.
Take it for what it's worth, but apparently Penix was puking into buckets on the sideline during the okay.
So was Jordan.
Yeah,
Jordan had a flu game.
Listen, they happen, man.
Mm-hmm.
They won the game, and good for them. They're gonna look.
I don't know why he's upset.
Here's what I'm going to tell you though about because his boy didn't win. I get it.
Okay, but look at Florida State fans right now. You think they give a damn if Jordan Travis won the Heisman as opposed to actually playing in the playoffs? Like that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like you have a chance to win a national championship.
Yep.
And you're worried about
Texas. I mean, the receiving core this kind of goes to my other thing. Without Jayden Daniels, they probably lose 6 at least.
They're a bottom half SEC team.
Absolutely, without Jayden. Michael Penix isn't the only player on that. They had, the running back came along in the second half of the season, but they've got the best receiving core in the country.
Yeah, they do. They got some good ones.
You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I'm just saying if anything, who's the best player on their team or the best player in the country that made it go? I mean, if you want to talk about wins, we can do that, except for we know that Jayden was the reason that they won the games that they won. They went 9-3. And like I said, the 3 losses came to teams with the combined 3 losses.
Certain Pickles, how many LSU games did you watch this year?
What's good, Derek? Of Jayden? I don't know. Yeah, I've watched almost every game. But look, and I think Michael's special. I think the dude is special, man. I just don't think he was the Heisman Trophy winner this year. In fact, if anything, I think that he got screwed out of being in New York last year. I still think it was Caleb Williams, but I know he was better than freaking Max Duggan. Max had moments of, where he played great. Even in the loss in the Big 12 championship game, he's over there almost dying on the sideline after that touchdown run. I get it why they made Max Duggan one of the finalists and he got second, but honestly, there's no way he was better than Michael Penix. No way.
Nope.
And I'm with you, man. I understand what you're saying. What's up, Derek, man? Seatbelt Mafia. We're going to get to see some more of the seatbelt in the bowl game. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, too. Look, in the end, I think that they got this one right. I was concerned that they weren't going to get it right. I thought that they were, because they were talking an awful lot about Bo Nix. And honestly, had Bo Nix won that Pac-12 championship game, they may have given it to him, even though they didn't give it to Michael.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that at all. And look, I'm not a hater or anything about anything, but when I started hearing guys like, you had Canzano out there talking about that Jayden Daniels would be on the bench either place. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. He wouldn't hold a clipboard either place. Maybe at Washington because of the fact that DeBoer is so close with Penix because he had him at Indiana too, but that's crazy shit. Yeah. Mississippi State and FSU. Yeah, the Mississippi State game was he was good again. What a great comeback he had to, and against a really, really good defense. That's the thing, is that he played a lot better defenses too. Texas A&M, that's all they got. But he had to bring them back in the second half of that one. So he was fabulous. A&M,
Mississippi State,
Mississippi
State, that's all they had too. They didn't have no offense.
That's for sure.
Boy, they had a whirl of a defense till it petered out, till it got tired.
He took that video down. He's gonna put that back out. Don't start busting my boy's chops, Boomer. All right. Anyway, guys, I hope everybody has wiped their feet. Hit that like button for us. We're gonna get into a lot of other stuff. But look, I think they got it right this year. I understand where you're coming from, Pickles. I do. And I appreciate you coming in and giving me your opinion. I'm good on that. It is what it is. In the end, I think that I have been getting kind of sick of the way the Heisman has really kind of been going to, because your team's playing for a national championship, you're in the playoff, blah, 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 whatever. It's not a team award. I don't think it should matter if you're like, let's just be real. Shedeur Sanders probably should have been in New York for his season up until he got hurt the last 2 weeks. He was unbelievable, right? But because of their record, there was no way he was getting there. His numbers are comparable to everybody.
Shedeur's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot. And you think of guys like, look, is
he for sure coming back next year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's his dad, man. He's not leaving his dad behind. And they're getting paid. Yeah. Hey, listen, and here's the deal. I'm going to say this again. I really like Michael Penix. I think he is unbelievably good throwing the ball. I think he throws lasers. I think they're going to carve up freaking Texas like a freaking turkey. They are.
Sergeant Pickles, where do you want him to go? What do you think he's going to go draft wise?
Who's that? Oh, Penix?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. You're the professor. Tell us. Where is he going?
Well, you're going to have to wait because I'm actually driving down to Florida, and we are doing a draft spectacular like last year at High Top.
Where do you have him in relation to the other quarterbacks in the draft?
Yeah.
Where I
have him.
What are you here for?
Okay, so if let's say Bo Nix is in the draft, he has to go. Penix has to go. Shador's not going. Caleb Williams is still up in the air, right?
No, he opted out of the bowl game. I'm pretty sure he's going.
He going.
Hasn't necessarily announced the draft part itself, but he's out.
I think. Listen, here's the deal with Williams. A dumb organization is going to take him, like the Raiders or Arizona. One of those bad organizations are going to take him. I think he is a. Yeah, I think he's going to be an absolute dumpster fire. I don't know about the number 1 pick. I think it's going to be a defensive player. I think he is going to be Kyler Murray.
Whoa! Hey! You better watch this Kyler Murray talk.
Well, he's not committed. He'd rather play Xbox.
I think that's bullshit. Number one, that's a stupid narrative that got passed around by Cliff freaking Kingsbury.
I don't know. I think that I just don't know, man. I think he's too prima donna. When you think of a NFL franchise quarterback, you want somebody big, strong. He's going to do the right things. He's going to go to the public events. He's going to do, Christmas time. He's going to show up. He's going to show up and do what's that veteran-led thing?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Williams.
Caleb Williams?
Yeah, right. I just don't know if he's going to do all that.
Caleb Williams, I'm going to tell you this. I think that he's the number one. I think he's the number one guy. But I'm going to definitely tell you this. The dude regressed this year thanks to Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley put him in a situation where he felt like he had to win everything all by himself. If you notice, if you watch any, and I don't know how much you watched them. I mean, of
USC,
yeah,
a little.
So one of the things that Lincoln always did whenever he was at Oklahoma was he had easy throws for those guys, especially like when Jaylen was there, because Jaylen wasn't that guy that from between that 10 to 20 yard, that pass that needs a lot of accuracy, he wasn't going to hit that one. That one was going to get picked. Now he can throw it deep and he can hit the short routes, and he's a hell of an athlete, right? We know that Jaylen's that. But he's still not that accurate from like the 15 to 25 yard number. You know what I mean? Those throws. He's still not super accurate. But where he really covered up that stuff for him whenever he was at Oklahoma, he made sure that he had easy throws for his quarterbacks, especially early. Every freaking ball, it seemed like, or every time he even went back, he was running for his life. And there was nothing that, as soon as you hit that freaking third step, the ball gets out, Caleb. None of that. And I think because of that, and because he got so used to, he makes the plays. I mean, he's a hell of a freaking playmaker, but I think that he regressed a little bit. He was only having him read about half the field, I think. I think he definitely hurt himself a little bit. I don't think he hurt himself in the draft because they're going to pick him. Mm-hmm. But I do think that his development was probably stunted a little bit. And you can put a lot of that on Lincoln Riley for the fact that, hey, you had Marshawn Lattimore and you never ran the football. It's unbelievable.
I just wonder if, when picking a franchise quarterback, there's more than just intangibles, right? There's got to be some character stuff, because you are about to be the face of a. I mean, what's like?
He's a crybaby.
What's
Sorry, I shouldn't say.
What's the Cowboys worth? $1 billion?
The Cowboys?
Yeah,
they're the most them and the Giants are the two most.
Yeah, they're probably worth what, $1 billion
at least.
At least, right? So when you have the face of a $1 billion
their stadiums
organization,
cost more than $1 billion, bro.
Yeah, so it's like, do I want a guy that's like that, or can I get a guy that is not like that and not all the problems and not a head case and maybe just not as talented, right? Can I go get a Bo Nix, big, strong? Bo Nix kind of reminds me of a slightly less fast Josh Allen, big, strong, has the arm, can go play up in the north, can play in an open field stadium. I don't know. I don't know if Caleb Williams is like that. I don't know if he's built like that.
Well,
I don't
he's
know
from
if
DC. He came from the cold. It shouldn't bother him. But now he's been in California for a while.
Yeah. So I just don't know, man. I feel like that. I feel like there's a lot of if I was running an organization, I would stay as far away from Caleb Williams as I could. Quarterback wise, that's just me. I think there's better options.
I think he's the best one.
I think he's a. I think truthfully, I think he's a head case.
I think that he needs listen, and that's what my concern.
He's he's what, an only child, right? Only child head case.
Yeah, but and his dad doesn't help things. Sometimes these parents. I was a little when he went and he was crying in the stands like he was after like bawling in his mother's arms like that, bro.
Not a look.
Do that inside. I understand crying for losing. I get that. It doesn't, but that was like having a 6-year-old really cry it out kind of thing.
It almost felt fake. Felt acting.
Well, I've thought he's acted through some of it before. But if that's your act, that's not a good look for your teammates or your future teammates. It doesn't seem like that. I don't know.
And
man.
You're about to go to the man's league.
Yeah.
The man's league, son. Like you don't think you're gonna hear that every weekend that you cried? Like they're gonna tear him apart. I don't think he's the guy.
I think talent wise, there's nobody better. But I also think, and I've also watched him come back from huge deficits before. You know, the Red River game, his freshman year, he came back from 28. He engineered the greatest comeback in Red River history.
But you know what? When it matters up here, bud. You can have all the talent.
I agree with
Ryan Leaf is a prime example.
I'm going to tell you who I think screwed that up for him was Lincoln Riley. As good as Lincoln is with all these quarterbacks, what has he done with all these quarterbacks?
Turned him into head cases.
Baker Mayfield. He's had Baker. He's had Kyler. He's had Caleb Williams. He's had, Jalen. And he only got Jalen for that year. But listen, think about that. Those guys, and you've never won a playoff game. He hadn't even made it to the playoffs with Caleb Williams. What a waste. What a waste. And this version of Lincoln Riley this season was completely different.
Yeah. Why do you think
the issue with him? I don't necessarily care about it. The crying that in his mom's arms was a little. It almost made you worry. And I'm not a Caleb hater like a lot of Oklahoma fans are. I'm just not. I will never forget what he did for Oklahoma in the Red River game, which is it's always important, right? I'll never forget that. I also won't forget the fact of what he did last season when he had to do it all himself as well. What I'm going to say, what I'm saying is that I think that his development was stunted for sure by what Lincoln is. And here's what I've been saying a lot, and I don't know how much I've really put this out there completely, but bottom line with what's going on with Lincoln Riley is this. It fell apart really fast at USC. Why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. Yeah, they were bad on defense. That's not all of it. They were also the strength and conditioning is trash. And the truth of it is that Lincoln just doesn't know what to do, and he really doesn't have anybody to depend on to give him advice on what to do at this point. Mike Leach is gone. The guys that he would lean on, maybe Ruffin McNeil. What is Ruffin McNeil though? I mean, he's a great defensive guy. I got a lot of respect for Ruffin, but who do you have as a mentor? Bob Stoops ain't it anymore. He's not picking up that phone for you after what you did because of the way you tried to burn the house down on your way out. But he had runway with Stoops. He had 17 years worth of culture and recruiting credit, if you want to call it that, built up. Just the machine was going. He didn't have to do anything but step in there and make that offense continue to hum and let the other guys do what they needed to do. He goes in, he fires Schmitty, right? He fires Schmitty. He brings in a yoga instructor for the strength and conditioning coach. That's the guy they have at SC. But it took 5 years. That last year, they went 11-2. They went 11-2 overall. 11-3. 11-3.
He just fired his buddy too. Mid-season.
Yeah, but okay. Why did he do that? Because hey, that had been his bullet catcher for that was his reason that they hadn't won in the playoffs was because of defense. That was his reason they weren't winning at USC was because the
scapegoat.
Oh, Bishop Frank coming in. I got to hear what he's got to say. But that's the bottom line is that once that started happening, you didn't have anybody to lay it off on anymore. And now what has he got to do? He had 5 years of runway to screw it all up at Oklahoma, but he knew that he was running out of it at that point. They won 6 one-score games with Caleb Williams there. And the Pac-12 this year was really good in comparison. Hey, what's up, Bishop Frank? Thanks for jumping in.
Hey, what's good? What's up, family? Hey, the truth of the matter is if you think about LR, he hasn't been able to mature. He was highly praised as he was going with us, but as things started toughening up, and then he didn't have the right components for as our strength and coordinator went away, the true one, and then the defense, no defense. You start seeing the truth of the matter, and then he went out to SC, and it came to light, and we kept trying to tell them, but they thought we were haters. But the truth is, you just got to face facts. It was time to grow up, and he wasn't ready for that curve.
Right. No, you're not wrong. I agree with you 100%. And that's the whole thing is once he got out there, just like I said, they didn't have 17 years of culture and the recruiting machine running out there. They weren't in great shape because they had fired their coach right before that. They go, 4-8 that year? I mean, he was able to bring it in and, hey, let's be honest. He didn't play Oregon or Washington last year either. It looked a lot better because he didn't have to play the best of the Pac-12. I don't know that he beats Oregon or Washington. He couldn't beat either Utah. He couldn't beat Utah either time and lost to Tulane.
Utah didn't even have a starting quarterback.
I was talking about the first year they did.
Oh, the first year, yeah, before Rising.
But I mean, the first year he didn't have to play Washington or Oregon. He would have lost at least one of those games. I mean, I feel like he would have. So,
but Jason, let me ask you a question. Just think about it. When he was here, it was always we were good during the regular season and we won our championship. But when we went to the playoffs, were we ready for that next level? And it was always the defense.
No, they weren't. And they weren't. Well, it was the defense, and then it got to be where they were soft.
Correct.
It got to be where they were soft everywhere.
Yeah, we digress. Let's just be honest. We digress. Each year, we we can pull it together enough to win the Big 12, but after a while, that's not enough.
No, you're not wrong. That's why, look, as much as people don't like Lincoln Riley for the way he left and like recruiting against Oklahoma while he was still on staff, everybody knows about all that stuff. He was shady. And he tried to burn down the Switzer Center on his way out. That's all there is to it. So there's a reason not to like him. But the good news is he left. Imagine taking one of those soft-ass teams into the SEC next year.
Oh, boy.
Trouble.
This
defensive line you're talking about, Bishop Frank,
right.
Talking about, there ain't no way you'd have it.
No, you ain't getting on one of them.
And so that's why, a lot of times when BV did come in, I'm so grateful that he did tear it down to the studs. I would take that 6 and 7 to have the year we had this year, because we have the pieces in order to keep building.
Right. And that's where I think that, I think a lot of people are still struggling with. It looked a lot better than it was those last few years of Lincoln Riley, right? It just looked better than it was because the Big 12 wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And I mean, when the second best team in the conference is Baylor, that's not good.
Well, and he schemed his way out of it. Look at Mullen at Florida scheming his way out of it, right? And then when the truth hit, you get fired mid-season because all the players had left. That you can't scheme your way out, and you don't recruit. And then everybody's on the fire Billy Napier train because 2 bad seasons. Well, we had 5 bad years of recruiting, and when you do that to yourself, it's extremely hard. And I get the transfer portal,
I mean,
right?
there was,
but the transfer portal is not an immediate fix. It helps, but you can't build a transfer portal team.
It's never going to be sustainable as your one and only thing. I think that if Deion Sanders is making mistakes as head coach here at the Power 5,
we saw it.
It's that he's really heavy in the portal, right?
Yeah.
He needs to continue. Now, obviously, he got the number 1 offensive lineman, which they definitely need trench guys. But I think that you definitely need to do better in your high school recruiting and developing than because you just don't know what you're getting when you get guys that are transferring in. How many of them are really there for the right reasons, right?
Yeah. Undisclosed injuries that you don't know about. Another one.
Sure.
Which we have seen. I have heard that has been a also problem. And you can't work these guys out. I mean, they're just there on a visit.
Right. Yeah, you just got to hope that they're telling you the truth and that you can read them really well. Real quick, Stephen G. Yeah, shout out to the men's basketball team. For everybody that was ready to get rid of Porter last year. Now they haven't gotten into the thick of it, which is conference play. But Oklahoma looks really good right now. Their basketball team.
Joe has a good comment down here. I do want to address it. I don't think you can build the entire offensive line or defensive line, but I think you could get 1 or 2 pieces and really solidify it.
Yeah, and I think that was something to talk about today for Coach Prime, was that he did get a couple of those guys coming in from places across the country that, and part of that's going to have to do with the fact that he was able to get Big Phil Lodeholt from Oklahoma. He's been working with Bill
NFL veteran.
NFL veteran, heck of a he's been really good. I think that he's going to do a great job.
Do you think that him and do you think that had anything to do with Seton?
I think it did. Yeah, I think part of it had to do with. Here's the one thing: if you get Prime in the living room, he's going to win over your family. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, man can take the deed to your house.
Thank you for letting me come on.
Hey, we appreciate you coming on, Bishop Frank. Anything else you want to add there?
Just keep doing what you're doing.
Hey, man, thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you a lot. Talk to you soon. All right. Thanks, Bishop Frank. Okay, so yeah, look, SC's been soft since Pete left. Multiple bum in a row, ADs and mediocre staff side and help. No, you're not wrong. That's what I was saying about it. It fell apart fast, right? Because of the fact that he didn't have the runway that he had at Oklahoma. All right, who is this guy? Gotta go duty calls. Horns down, go dogs. Hey, horns down. You guys got him, man. Y'all get him. Anthony Manzano. Yeah, you can leave your camera off. We'll pull you in just 1 second. Will Bill B could recruit like yeah, don't be so hard on Bill B back, man. They're gonna be all right, man. They're gonna be all right. I think the whole deal with
is Lodeholtz a stellar recruiter.
It looks like it, man. It looks like he helped out a little bit, and I think that he was in on. I mean, the only thing is he didn't do a ton of recruiting as an analyst at Oklahoma the last couple of years, but I know he was. one of the guys that they were listening to as well. But Bill,
but as an
Bill,
analyst, you don't know. I mean, you could have been talking to the kid every day. You just don't. You're not going to get the credit, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. No, they were saying the same thing about Jackson Arnold with Seth Luttrell and Joe John, who are now the OCs, that they had a really good relationship with him.
Yeah, a lot of people don't give enough credit to the recruiting staff, and that's your analysts. That's your guys that are talking to these kids every day. I mean, you think Venable has enough time to talk to recruits every single day? That doesn't happen. But it's building the staff around is very crucial, and having a guy like Loholtz that, NFL vet, played the position, knows what it takes, strength and conditioning, knows what it takes schematic wise, and is going to tell you like, hey, you're kind of a zone guy. I don't think it's going to work here. Or, you're kind of a power guy. It's not going to work here. He's going to be 100% with a kid, as opposed to, a salesman that's just wanting to get talent in.
Well, and I think a lot of what you deal with if you're Deion Sanders is that narrative that, I mean, he's getting negative recruited like crazy. He's going to be gone as soon as Shador leaves. I mean, so I know that he's talked about that 60% from the portal and the other 40% mixed up with high school and JUCO or whatever.
Yeah, but
I don't like that idea. I don't like that idea. I think you have to do it maybe this year. You're going to have to this year.
I ask you this.
I don't think it's a good way to build a foundation, man. I don't.
Let's take this back, right? Let's take this back. If he had landed the Miami job before Cristobal, he doesn't have to be that aggressive in the portal because kids want to go to Miami. He decided to take a job where nobody wants to go or hasn't been relevant since the 90s, the early 90s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And not even not relevant. Not even Nebraska. Like they were worse than Nebraska.
No, I mean, let's be fair. I mean,
they had
their last head coach wasn't terrible. He was getting they just didn't want to keep him around. I think they thought that they obviously made a big pitch to they obviously made their big pitch.
How long do you think he's there?
But Manny was doing a good job. I don't know, man. I think he stays I think they better give him 4 to 5 years. Otherwise, what do you got left now? This is one of the guys that is a link to your past, to your most successful past, who is proven to be one of the better recruiters, at least in the country. He's won some big games when he was at Oregon. I mean, going on the road and winning at the Shoe is a big deal. Now, of course, he came right home and lost to Arizona the next week.
Which Arizona ended up being a decent team.
Not this year. I'm talking about when he was at Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day. Remember when they went to the Shoe and won, and then they the next week? I mean, and they were close to the playoff a couple of times. Let me let Anthony in here to let him ask this question. What's up, Anthony? How you doing, man?
Hey, fellas. How are you today? Honestly, can you hear me?
Yeah, got you.
I honestly, for me, I see Deion leaving. But the only job he would leave, if he leaves, the only job he would leave for, if it continues happening to a Florida State where they get left out of the playoff if they're undefeated or have one loss, they fire Norvell. That's the only he's a Florida State alumnus. That's the only place he would go to in Colorado.
I don't think so.
Well, I appreciate your point on that. I think that that's the narrative that whether or not that's true, I don't even know if that matters whether it's true or not. Here's the thing is that I don't necessarily think that's the case. I don't think that he's leaving anytime real soon. I think that he needs to show at this point after it was great that you got your 4 wins or whatever, and that's a 400% improvement, number one. But I also think how many of these right now, how many major programs are going to actually are frothing at the bit to hire you right now?
Well, Texas A&M gave him a call.
I don't know that they did.
Actually, the one job I can see if they fired Napier, Florida.
Boy, don't even start on that.
There was some there was some buzz going on.
Give me some of that juice.
Napier?
Fire Napier, get Prime? Yeah, okay, I'll take it. Listen, the problem is there's too much old head money at Florida. We got we do not have a coaching problem. We have a upper echelon athletic problem. And Jason and I have talked about this.
I didn't say he burned a bridge, did I? What bridge did he burn? What are you talking about?
Prime.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm talking. I think he's talking to me. I think he's talking about Florida State because they hired Norvell. They didn't even offer Prime the job and stuff like that. Like before he got the job at Colorado.
Well, so you're saying you think because of the Travis Hunter may have been something that burned the bridge and like pulling from them in the portal and stuff, or do you think that has something to do with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And for me, I understand why they did it, but he's not on a playoff team. Jayden Daniel, to me, it should have been a guy like a Michael Penix over a Jayden. The Heisman should be like how they do with the NFL MVP is if the player is competing for a playoff
here
spot.
To argue Jayden Daniels that he shouldn't have been the Heisman guy now, Anthony?
I don't get no. It's because the fact that his team is not in the playoff is what I'm saying. That's how they should do the criteria for the Heisman like they do for the NFL MVP.
No, the Heisman's just the best player.
He lost 3. If you want to go there, he lost 3 games by a total, but to teams that had 3 total losses.
Okay, combined. but you understand what I'm saying. They're not a playoff team though.
So it's not a team award. The Heisman is for the best player in the country. It's not a team award.
But so you don't think it would work if they do it like the NFL does with the MVP?
No, and I don't.
There's been plenty of people not win the MVP.
I was going to say, how many times does the MVP doesn't always go to the?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers
going to the Super Bowl and stuff like that. Yeah,
Brett Favre.
Aaron Rodgers has always been in the playoffs.
Okay, so this is a 14 playoff, not 16 teams.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
I mean, here's the thing. It's the problem is it's just not. I don't believe that it's. I already think that it's limited to basically quarterbacks at this point, and there's only been one defensive player to ever win it.
Charles Woodson, and he didn't.
I don't think
that team didn't make the playoffs.
Charles Woodson is going to be the last and only defensive player. If Travis Hunter stayed healthy and performed like he would have been able to win it, though. Yeah. Like, and what are you guys like as Oklahoma fans? Do you guys like it? Do you want Miami to follow you guys? Like, would you rather Miami go to a Big 12, like outside looking in? Because the lack of respect the ACC's not getting.
As an OU fan, they're going to the. They're headed to the SEC next year, so I don't.
Miami. What do I want Miami to go?
But I think Miami's going to the Big Ten is what it sounds like.
I was hoping a hurricane would hit Miami and suck the whole place up.
You're horrible. That's horrible.
Well, I know. I'm a Florida fan. What do you expect?
The Florida fan. This is what they do. Look, when you have anyway, but look, here's the deal with. I think that when it comes to the realignment stuff, I think they look like they're going to go to the Big 10 to me, not the Big 12. I think the Big 12 is still it's a basketball conference, man, and I think that right now all they did was trade out 2 blue bloods for Utah, and Arizona will come in right away. And I also think that Colorado is going to be better when they get there because he'll be able to recruit
in Texas.
I think Ron's going to be able to recruit in Texas a lot better than a lot of people think. But he has to focus on the recruiting side of it. I was with who was it up here that was saying that? Let me jump back to that. Joe was saying, look, you're not going to get a ton of guys in the trenches, which is what you need the most. They don't have a problem with skill guys, and they're not going to have a problem with skill guys. Right? whether it's on offense or defense. The problem is always going to be
trenches.
in the trenches, offensive line.
But
defense.
they have Warren Sapp coming.
Yeah.
He's the defensive line coach there. That was a
risky hire, man. I think that was a risky hire.
Why do you say that?
Who?
Because Warren Sapp gets his ass in a lot of trouble. He has. And I know that Coach Prime mentors him. I think that he's obviously he was a great player. He's never been a coach, though.
No, he just graduated with a coaching degree from Miami, the University of Miami.
And his first job as a Power 5, not even going to be an analyst.
He was an analyst at Miami.
Okay. Well,
I mean, Brandon Spikes was a coach's assistant too, and I don't see any Power 5 programs asking him to go anywhere.
Yeah,
and you still have Mike Zimmer over there. Mike Zimmer.
Look, I think they're in good shape. I think they're going to be fine. I think it's going to.
Does Mike Zimmer? That's the issue with Mike Zimmer. The issue with Mike Zimmer, though, he doesn't have experience recruiting. He's been in the NFL.
You don't let him recruit. You don't let him around a player.
Guys, none of these guys are. That's the problem with his. First off, like, I don't like the idea of Shermer because the guy doesn't recruit either. There's a reason these dudes have been in the NFL for this long.
You keep Mike Zimmer as far away from recruits as you can. You just let him scheme it up every week.
Oh Jesus! I'm jumping off now. Bye, guys.
All right, guys. Yeah, I don't know what.
Mike Zimmer's a grumpy old man.
He was a hell of a defensive coordinator. I think he would be fine at that. What I don't want you to do is he's not going to recruit, though. He doesn't recruit.
Oh, but you keep him in the back, just where he's at. Boomer, old enough.
Old enough. He served his country. He's old enough to have done that. He was a Marine.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Marines. Des Garrett. So what is Brandon Spikes? Who said Brandon? Who brought up Brandon Spikes?
I did when he said about the Sapp thing, because he said Sapp was an analyst with Miami. Like, yeah, so was Brandon. Brandon Spikes was too. It doesn't make you get a Power 5 coaching job.
Look,
it's who you know.
Coach Prime is going to be able to get players. The problem is because he's the major guy that's going to be out there doing the recruiting. If you get him in the living room, he's going to pull these guys, a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
In the end,
I'd be worried Coach Prime leave with my wife. He's so good.
Right. But the thing is, the problem is that you got to get guys. I don't know that this is going to work out with all these NFL dudes. But here's the thing. What I was getting at is I don't see him going anywhere right away. I know all this, but that negative, whether we think that or not, doesn't really matter. It's that perception and the negative recruiting that is happening. That's the first thing anybody says when they start negative recruiting is they're going to say, hey, Coach Prime's not going to be there. As soon as Shador leaves, they're leaving. He's leaving. Right? It's kind of is what it is.
What do you think about this Florida State Georgia
hold on
matchup?
Shelton, you want to jump in here and talk this smack from on the show, or are you just going to sit out there?
And he's going to sit out there, and he's probably nestled in his bed.
Little wussy. You do 17 quarterbacks in next year's class.
You do have a lot of quarterbacks in the class.
They got 6 blue chip defensive linemen there, Mr. Florida.
Told you he was nestled. Told you he was in bed nestled up. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Stutzman. Let's talk a little bit about some of that too. Here's a.
I think if you're Florida State and Georgia.
Okay, go ahead.
If you're Florida State, number one, are you playing the game if you're Mike Norvell?
Yes, I think you have to.
And then what do you think is going to happen?
I think that if he shows up and then doesn't play the game once he gets there, I think you have now changed the narrative to now you're the bad guy because people traveled down there, bought tickets and all that shit, and then you left and didn't play. I think that's a terrible idea. There's no way they do it. And plus, it's a lot of money on the line. They still get $2 million. And for a school that's bitching about not being in one of the big conferences that's going to get the most money starting next year, they can't afford to be leaving $10 million on the table. I think it's a stupid idea. They need to quit kicking and screaming about this shit.
It's over. It's done.
They're not one of the 4 best.
Okay, so let's get to this
with Jordan Travis. They're sure as shit not without him.
Where would you have stacked them after watching that Louisville game that you fell asleep? I fell asleep.
I'm telling you, I think that they weren't top 10, but I understand the idea of putting them in because they were undefeated. I get that. But if we really are talking who's the best team, they're not it. Georgia's going to beat the shit out of them.
You think Kirby goes and
shit out of them?
You think Kirby goes and pulls another TCU and hangs half 100 on them just to prove?
He's liable to, yeah.
Because I mean that'd be the Kirby way, right? I can tell you, Georgia is not going to sleep this one. Georgia's going to come locked in and pissed off. So, boy, Florida State, you've done a lot of kicking and screaming. I hope you show up because if not, you are going to be. It's going to be a TCU thing again, right? You think?
I think they better show up though, because if you're going to sit there and say that you belonged in the damn playoff and then you don't,
you go out and try to beat Georgia,
the team that didn't make the playoff, you better go out there and show something. Here's the thing: if you do that, you can have one of your UCF titles.
Yeah, we beat Georgia.
Yeah,
number 1 team in the nation at one point.
Back-to-back champions,
back-to-back champs
in a row. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think they are so distracted.
They're going to get the hell beat out of them. And here's the thing. They're going to get the crap beat out of them. That's all there is to it. But
I don't know if they can beat them with Jordan Travis.
But here's the TCU thing may have had nobody's talking about this a whole lot. But I do believe that the TCU getting the hell beat out of them, 59 points in the championship game, somebody up there decided they're not having that crap happen again.
Yeah.
Forget about the most deserving. It should be the best 4. Now, it's never been the best 4. It'll never be the best 4. It never would have been.
I seriously think that
I still don't think it's the best 4. If we're being honest, I don't think that any of the teams left in there. Obviously, Bama did it, but I don't think any of them beat Georgia if they played them.
Would you have capped Michigan for cheating? They cheated.
Shit. Did they?
They got caught.
Okay. So did Ohio State. They've got Ohio State was doing. They had a ring of guys cheating against them. It's all the same shit.
So you're not worried about the cheating.
Nah.
So Michigan's in, right?
Stealing signs, bro. If you ain't cheating, you're got an SEC team. I know you don't give a shit about that.
Hey, listen, you know what I say. If you ain't committing felonies, you ain't trying to win, okay?
Exactly.
So, listen, I get it. But here's the thing. So you would have Michigan. Let's do our top 4. If you would have Michigan. And then who?
Michigan, it'd be Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, and Texas. As much as I hate to say Texas, it'd be Texas.
And you leave Washington out.
I would.
Because of the close games.
I just don't think they're that good on defense, and I know that Texas can compete with Alabama. I'm going to tell you another thing. I think did you see when they did the announcement, the Michigan room deflate?
Oh yeah, that's wild. There was like one drunk mom. Woo!
Come on.
She had about 12 margaritas.
What does that mean?
SEC was down. Down to what? Down to 2 teams in the playoffs, son.
They've got 2 teams in the New Year's Six, and they've got a playoff team again.
SEC was down.
Mizzou? And Jayden Daniels just won the Heisman with
LSU,
one of the greatest seasons in history.
Bama, Georgia.
Texas does suck at pass defense. I didn't say they're going to beat Washington. I said they have a better chance of beating Alabama or Georgia than Washington does, I think.
What's your early predictions for the final game? Who do you think it is?
I believe it's Washington and Alabama, and I think Alabama wins.
You don't think Texas can beat Washington?
Nope. They don't have the secondary to do it.
Oh, you think it's going to be a track meet?
Them up. I think Penix carves their asses up like a freaking
track meet. Good game, but track meet?
Carves them up like a turkey, bruh. And the thing about Quinn Ewers, if it gets into that situation where you're going to have a shootout, he's probably going to come apart.
Yeah.
He gets anxiety and shit like that. Now I'm talking shit about Texas, but hey, folks.
Yeah, I don't think Michigan.
You haven't already hit the like button. Hit the like button.
I don't think Michigan's built to win a natty either.
50 people in here right now. Only 17 of you folks like this. Come on now. Hit the like. Everyone's talking about what Georgia did to TCU, but TCU missed it again. University. Listen, I'm not the biggest Michigan guy in the world. I'm telling you. I think that what makes them a strong team is how physical they are and big. I think that they're more physical than the rest of it, because now that Georgia's out, aside from Alabama, there's nobody else that's. I mean, they're physical, and that's why they own the Big Ten. The thing about Michigan is they didn't play anybody either. Michigan didn't play anybody, neither did Ohio State. I don't want to hear about Ohio State being screwed and getting left out of it. I don't want to hear a thing about them because you're not playing anybody. Now, Ohio State played a better schedule than Michigan did, but they lost to Michigan.
If somebody wants to say a conference is weak, the Big Ten, Jesus. You talk about top heavy. 2 teams, that's it. Oh, and Iowa that can't score points.
Well, Penn State. But, hey,
Penn State chokes every year.
Here's the one thing I'll say about the whole committee thing. They don't help themselves by being – they have a narrative that they pushed really hard for. They were so in love with Texas for going in and winning in Tuscaloosa in week 2. Like that freaking is the same thing. But they as much as they love Texas, they don't love the team that beat Texas. Oklahoma is the only school in the country that beat 2 conference champions, and they're not in a New Year's 6 game. Oregon didn't even beat a top 25 team.
Yeah.
They counted Oregon's losses as more important than Oklahoma.
Well, and then they said that
Texas.
You bring that up, and then they said early wins don't really matter.
Except
losses.
Except for the Texas one.
Against Bama. But then said that Bama, the loss to Texas didn't matter.
So as much as they're in love with Texas and what they do and them beating Bama on the road, they didn't give a shit about the fact that Oklahoma beat Texas.
I'm really surprised they left Georgia out, though.
Same with Penn State. How does Penn State get into a New Year's 6? Why?
You know what's wild to me? This is what's wild to me. FSU is throwing an absolute crybaby fit, subpoenaing the Congress to go and look at it. But Georgia, back-to-back national champions, 29 games in a row in the toughest conference in the nation. Now, they didn't have the toughest schedule this year. I get it. But golly, they lose one game in a playoff game that some conferences don't even play. Some conferences don't even play a playoff game, and you dock them for it.
They lost to OSU, who they have the leading rusher in the country, and they shouldn't have lost it. Did you watch that game?
Which one?
Because they wouldn't have lost it had it not been for. I'm not even going to say it. They shouldn't have lost the 2 games they lost. The bottom line is they beat a better team than either one of those teams I just talked about. Oregon. Who did Oregon beat? Texas Tech, Utah. Penn State didn't beat anybody. Who's their best win against? Maryland?
I mean, in the grand scheme of it, you're way above a lot of programs with a second-year head coach.
Yeah. Look, the bottom line, the point I was making is I don't see how the committee's being one way with. They're so high on Texas. But the team that beats Texas, they still hate on them.
Yeah, and then they dropped Georgia out after 1 loss in 2 years. It's wild.
Yeah. The bottom line is I don't even care about I don't care about the fact that they're not necessarily in it. Should they be in a New Year's 6? Probably. I mean, and especially when in the other part of the New Year's 6 stuff that I'm not a big fan of the G5 teams. having an auto bid for the highest ranked G5.
Next year, we'll solve a lot of problems.
There's still going to be an auto bid there. Somebody's going to get left out. If that was this year, Oklahoma would have got left out of the playoff.
Yeah, but
and so you're telling me that Liberty should have been in above.
Oh no, I don't like the auto bid
playoff
system.
situation?
I think it should be the 12 best. 12 best.
It's never going to be that. It's never going to be that.
Why can't we just get that?
That's just how it's not. It's not the way they were never going to get the 12 team on votes. They weren't going to do it. Yeah, Texas loses to K-State if they make an extra point. Absolutely correct.
Yeah, but that's you're talking. Everybody's had close games. There's not been a single team out here that hasn't had.
They did, Des.
It's one of those
Texas
things
lost
where
to Oklahoma. Texas still lost to Oklahoma. Does period. You don't. I mean, you don't have to like it, but that's the way it is. Look, the one thing I'll say about the playoff moving forward, for the folks that think that this is about fairness, it's never. It's not even designed to be about fairness.
I'm surprised they left Georgia out talking about TV ratings. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's rigged." I'm like, if it's so rigged, why'd you leave Georgia out?
Okay, so here's where I'm not one to really like agree with Uncle Lou a whole lot on most stuff. An ACC athletic director was the chair of the committee, and Michigan's AD was on the committee. They're tied to Fox. ESPN don't have shit. Why would they help ESPN in this situation with the SEC? And do you don't think that Michigan would rather have played Florida State especially after what we saw in Louisville? Do you don't think Michigan would have rather played Florida State instead of Alabama?
Sure shit they would.
There's not a conspiracy, guys. There's not. They just don't think that they're one of the 4 best teams. That was they made somebody said this today, and I agreed with. I don't forget who it was that said it, but I think they made maybe in who the hell was it? Oh, the guys from the Pivot podcast. They made the Tard decision. They could have put FSU in and nobody would have said shit. They did the hard thing and put in a team that they thought was the best team, knowing that they were going to catch hell for it. They probably didn't know that much. Yeah, Michigan definitely wanted FSU. Dude, did you see the kid over there going, I think it was Harbaugh's kid. He immediately was like, what the fuck? They didn't want it. Indiana.
I think what they were worried about rating wise is I don't know if I think you're onto something, but I don't know if they wanted like the SEC. I think they had to shake it up because the SEC narrative of
SEC's won 6 out of 9 playoffs. I don't know what they're talking about. They can say how are you going to leave the champion out?
But this is my thing. Makes a hell of a comeback story next year. Playing that long game, bud.
I definitely know that Greg Sankey was doing his best Nick Saban from last year impression of going around and making sure that he campaigned very, very well. I don't think he should have had to.
I think if anybody has a
and you just beat a team that hadn't lost in 29 games.
Yeah, I think Georgia should be throwing the fit that FSU is, and FSU knows. But that's FSU. They're a poverty program.
We do have marching membership, Stephen G. And thank you for asking. The membership is right up to the top right of your screen. Join the Hall of Fame Mafia for as low as $2.99 a month. It's about half the cost of a Starbucks coffee. Our pod merch is right next to that, hofmedia.us/pod-merch. Get your horns down gear. Suck, wear, or it's the SUC, by the way. And we've got some other stuff in there you might like. Hey, right now, the one thing that you want to definitely take a look at is our partnership page with Fanatics. It's up to 60. Most of the stuff on the store at Fanatics is 65% off for the 48 hours. Get over there, get some, whoever your team is, which I know we don't just have Oklahoma fans in here. Florida, Texas, even whoever, get in there. A lot of stuff is
Christmas
65%
shopping.
off. Yeah, do some Christmas shopping, man. Make it good. Our Louisiana grills, you get $100 off anything in their black label line just by using our link as well. Make sure you go through all of those. And hey, our favorite new sponsor is DevilDog's Brewing Beans, premium
Love
coffee, fresh to your door the same day that you order it. It is roasted, ground, and shipped back to you to ensure the most freshness possible. Veteran owned, serving veterans. 5% of every sale goes to the Wounded Warrior program, which is very important in my book. It's the main reason I even care about this whole deal. Their coffee is fantastic, though. By the way, get in there. Make sure you check those guys out. If you use promo code Boomer, you will get 10% off on your first purchase as well. Always free shipping. Make sure you get over there, hofmedia.us/coffee. That will take you directly to the page there. All right. Yeah,
Love me some DevilDog.
I love me some Stephen G helping me pay the bills there. Thank you, bud. Good man. Yeah. Hey, love me some DevilDogs too. Stacy's a good dude, man. Cool guy. Very cool guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool company he's got there. We got to start doing more for our veterans, man. And I think that Wounded Warrior, there's not really a better organization out there for that.
Nope. You strive for them.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that the government takes over everything when it comes to Wounded Warrior, but they don't. They don't take over the gas. They don't take over the special stuff that they need. They get them by, but a guy that loses a leg.
If you're a veteran and have been to the VA, you know better than that.
Yeah. The Wounded Warrior Project gives them enough to.
What are we talking about Indiana for in here?
To survive. It's not the luxury a guy should live that has lost limbs, multiple limbs, eyes. I drove around Kyle Carpenter, the Marine that jumped on the grenade, saved multiple Marines, Medal of Honor winner. I drove around Dakota Meyer, also a Marine that got shot like 15, 16 times, taking wounded Marines out of I can't remember exactly where he was, but Afghanistan, Iraq, and what you don't get is a lot of people don't realize the expense of flying back and forth to the specialist. The VA doesn't cover that.
Yeah.
They don't cover all the extras. They don't cover the orthopedic shoes, the special orthopedic shoes they have to wear just to not have back pain because they have a limb blown off and stuff like that. So,
absolutely.
Wounded Warrior Project is very, very good.
Hey, we had. Hold on, real quick. I just added it to the thing there. It should have already been there, but Ken,
and if you become a member, you
coffee being that good. It's fabulous. It's very, very good. Get in there and check it out. You can use the link right here on the page with us. If not, jump into the description, and it's right there below the initial part of the description. You'll see that. I think it's the first link that's actually there. So jump on there and check
I just
them out.
received 2 pounds of the Ethiopian roast. I really like it. That's my favorite.
Yeah, the Ethiopian. I'm gonna try that one next. I had the Cowboy blend last time, but I want to try one of the single.
The single
types there.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, and look, I like coffee a lot too, but I'm not as crazy about it as some people are. But I really, really like this coffee. I've had it every day since I got it.
It's a big difference from going to like Folgers.
And shout out to Buc-ee's. Absolutely, thank you there, Shawty. Shout out to Buc-ee's. UCF and BYU would smoke Indiana. LO. What are we talking about Indiana so much
yeah,
for?
Indiana keep
okay,
up.
What did he say? He said no, that they would beat G5 teams. Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna take a bathroom break real fast.
Alrighty. Big Ten offenses live in the past. Yeah, the only thing, and I'm not a Big Ten guy, really. I wish that they would play somebody. I think that their schedule got significantly better for next year, but not because of USC. Not because you say, what's up there, Wilkerson? How you doing, buddy? Shotty, you want to come in? Yeah, so let's see. Let me go back through some of these. No, but Ken, the coffee's great. Check it out, man. Like I said, you get 10% off of your first purchase by using the promo code Boomer. So just make sure to put that in there when you purchase. Hey, and also you have this. It's our own coffee mug. Y'all can read that, right? Also available on DevilDogs. What's up, Robbie? Kim. Hey, man, we got all the crew in here. Cracker Mac, what's up, buddy? SMU would have smoked IU this year in the G5. Yep. Jay Morris. Steve B. What's up, Steve B? John Ralston. How do you get the top 3 differences in the country? Your offenses are offensive. Michigan will get rolled again. Pac-12 offenses are terrific because they have sorry defenses. No. Not a Texas-Alabama rematch. No. Texas isn't going to be able to handle, just like they didn't in last year's bowl game, they're not going to be able to handle that receiving core of Michael Penix. That their secondary is worse than it was last year. They're getting carved up, John. Getting carved up, bruh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If they gave it to anybody else, I would have been pissed. Your boy in the blender. Okay. I got you, bro. Not to worry. Big Phil already got another transfer. He is a beast. Yeah, he's got 2 of them, apparently. Yeah. 2 of them. I was looking at that earlier. Pretty good stuff. Folks, make sure you hit that like button. We got 24 likes, 50 people in here. Come on. Come on now. Come on. What else are we talking about in here? Let's see. What else are we going to? Oh, speaking of Okie Light, since Dez brought up Okie Light a minute ago, Gunnar Gundy transfers this week. Gunnar Gundy. I didn't mean to pull you off the stage. I was just taking your
you're fine.
camera off. My bad. Gunnar Gundy transferring from Papa. What's that about?
What does he play?
Quarterback. Mike Gundy's son. To hear Stovall tell it, it was because Gunnar was supposed to be the starter. He was going to be named the starter, and then he decided he didn't want to be the starter, and so the team doesn't respect him, so he's leaving. It's wild shit.
Okay, so Gunnar didn't want to be the starter. Is that what you're saying?
If Indiana was undefeated and got left out, yeah, because when would that ever happen?
Indiana's a farm league for everybody else to go get one good talented player out of the Midwest.
OU. It was autocorrect. My bad. I was like, wait, when did you become an IU fan?
OU.
Okay. Look, yeah, but that would never happen to Oklahoma. Look, I think that the one thing that happened, apparently they were going to put in Texas either way. If Georgia wins the SEC championship game, FSU's probably in.
Yeah, because Bama has 2 losses.
Texas probably comes out. So. Perfect. There you go. There you go. Check them out, John. You'll like it. Washington is going to carve up Texas, though. Watch it happen. They did it last year. I mean, this is a rematch of last year's game, and they had a better secondary last year at Texas.
Where's it played at?
They are in the Fiesta, aren't they? Aren't they in the Fiesta Bowl? Which would be in Phoenix. Let me look real quick. CFP matchups.
Too bad they're not home games.
No, they're not.
Can we get some of that?
Next year.
Get
The
some,
first
some of
round,
that.
the first rounds will be, yeah.
That'll be spicy.
No, the Sugar Bowl. My bad. So New Orleans, Washington and Texas in the Sugar, Penix and Alabama in the Rose Bowl.
One of the greatest cities ever.
New Orleans? New
Oh,
Orleans is
God.
cool. I
It's
like
so
Nova.
fun.
It is fun. It is.
Food.
It is.
Even if you're not a drinker.
I'm a
if
fan
you
of
don't
the
like
Sugar
to drink.
I'm a fan of the Sugar Bowl though too. The cool. I think that's. I went to the Sugar Bowl that year that Oklahoma beat Alabama. Just by chance though, because I didn't see that coming. But
Were you reporting for somebody? Or you just went?
No. I just ended up getting an opportunity to go. I had I had a free flight and somebody had a ticket, so I went.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, and they beat the hell out of Alabama that day actually, and with Trevor Knight at quarterback. As a matter of fact, surprising.
Yeah, New Orleans is one
Trevor
of my
was not good.
favorite cities to go to.
New Orleans is cool, man.
Food to die for. Bring your Pepto-Bismol.
Right?
Because you're going to have the heartburn.
Piss on the Sugar Bowl if you're playing LSU. Definitely. Yeah. I want to play. That's almost like playing in Baton Rouge.
Appreciate you, Mike. I actually, I'm going to have to get going because I have some other stuff I got some stuff I got to wrap up. I got Edge linebackers coming out tomorrow morning.
Okay.
7 a.m. Offensive Video 2.0 is coming out Sunday night. And then Monday, I think I'm going to break down the DBs. And that should secure the class.
Billy Bowman's back. We'll start talking Oklahoma right after you bounce.
Listen, if the views are there, I will get real nasty with it and break down the offensive line. I did it for Georgia, and it was a hit. It was the wildest thing, me breaking down the offensive line. But no, if you guys like the film review and stuff, if you have questions about a player on why they didn't make it, listen, guys, the classes are so big. I can't get everybody in because it's 2, 3, 4 minutes of film per player, plus me talking, the graphics I slide in there. So if there's a guy you really, really want, put in the comments. Everybody,
great job.
Everybody can vouch that I'm very I'm very in the comments and let you know. Yes, listen, he's coming. Or yes, I'll do it. And listen, I messed up and did a Georgia video and left out an athlete, and they threw a fit, and I had to make a single video over an athlete. But the views were there, and everybody wanted to see it, and so I went ahead and did it, and it was a good time.
Congrats to Army for winning today.
Oh, God dang it!
Yeah.
Old Navy pull through.
They had already beaten Air Force, so
yeah, they are the champs.
They're the champs. So I wanted them to win it.
Another one for the bad guys.
At least Air Force got Navy. Navy comes in last this year.
Navy's terrible, aren't they?
They've been pretty bad.
They are the butt of all jokes, though, of the service members, minus the coasties.
Yeah, real quick, who do you think is going to end up landing these quarterbacks that are left out in the portal right now? Before you go,
let's see who we got. Let's bring it up.
It's got some pretty freaking wild ones because you have
you got the kid from UCLA,
Dante Moore, and Cam Ward are like considered kind of considered the better of them. The backup for DJU at Oregon State is starting to sound to me like he's going to end up at Michigan State.
Okay.
I've heard the DJU may end up at Florida State, which would be a juicy tidbit, by the way. If
per On3, we got Dillon Gabriel to Oregon.
That's done. Yeah, that's already been.
Riley Leonard from Duke to Notre Dame is looking.
Correct. That was done.
Okay. And then we have Will Howard from K-State, undecided. I haven't seen I haven't seen a bunch of smoke on him. I have seen that
Lincoln was in on him, and Lincoln was also in on Cam Ward.
Cam Ward is a big one, right? Everybody wants Cam. Miami fans want Cam. I don't think that's going to happen. Now they're saying Dante Moore. It's either Michigan State or Miami. They're kind of up in the air about that. Kyle McCord, which was a shocker. He's going to Nebraska allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
It says 100%. DJ is going to Louisville, which a lot of people thought that
Kyle McCord is going to Miami. Is that what you just said? And DJ's going to Louisville?
No. So DJ's going to Louisville is what they're saying. And Kyle McCord's going to Nebraska.
That's funny.
Per On3.
You leave Ohio State as the starting quarterback with one loss to go to Nebraska? That kid's not a competitor.
I don't get it.
He's not a competitor. That's what it is.
Let's see. Tyler Van Dyke. Guy, he's like a grown man. Like, how many years of eligibility does he have left? I saw a little smoke of Tyler Van Dyke going to where was that? I'm trying to think where that was.
I thought it was going to be
Wisconsin.
Like maybe A&M or Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Yep. Tyler Van Dyke to Wisconsin.
You mean Florida couldn't use him? Why isn't Florida getting one of these guys?
We have Mertz. Mertz is coming back. He just announced.
So?
Well, we have DJ Lagway. We have the savior of the swamp.
So far,
the president.
We have DJ Lagway.
Oh, easy with that. Can we?
So hey, if DJ were to not come, what happens? Do they fire him that day?
If DJ Lagway were to flip,
yeah,
he loses his job.
Yeah, I think he does too. I think they fire his ass immediately. Lock him out of the building and shit.
I think it's like your little key pass doesn't work. Bing, bing.
So I was saying lock him out of him, but he's screwed. He can't get back in.
Cam Ward to Ohio State.
Ali Peak could go kick his ass out of there. Get out.
I don't think that's going to happen though. I think that a lot of people.
He seems pretty solid on Florida and Billy.
Well, it's just like LJ McCray.
Is that Billy sucks at play calling.
Okay, I'm going to say this. Michigan, Mertz, laugh out loud. Yeah, Mertz from Wisconsin. He also was one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. Billy Napier developed Mertz from a guy that was the bottom of the Big Ten.
5-7. Come on.
Tough schedule. Right?
It's not getting better. They just lost Trevor Etienne.
Yeah, I'm not worried about him. Running backs are replaceable. You know that. Come on, big dog.
Okay.
He goes to Georgia. What is? Like,
Mertz had a good season, but what does that mean? They went 5-7. It wasn't good enough.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of improvement. The defensive line needs to improve. The cornerbacks need to
defensive linemen to the portal.
They did lose a couple. They have some guys coming in. They have some guys on visits right now. The kid out of Penn.
I had to bust your chops before I let you get out of here.
Oh, for sure. I get that. But I think that I think the biggest thing is Xavier Filsaime. I think that the smoke is very worrisome from Texas.
Texas, yeah.
That's his home. Mm-hmm. I don't know how far he plays for McKinney?
Yeah, that's not very far. It's up around Dallas, but nothing's that far from Houston Austin.
Yeah. Austin's so it's like I think that's worrisome, but I don't think you fire Billy
Did you
Napier
not take that video down that I told you to take down because they're telling me about this?
What?
About
oh no, it's up.
Tatum.
It's up. It's got 5,000 views.
Oh my God.
It's doing well.
Yeah. Well,
Longview. Yeah.
Longview, Texas, which Longview has a pipeline to Oklahoma. It's where Trent played, isn't it, guys? Isn't that where Trent went to school?
Yeah.
Best offensive lineman in the
somebody
game.
posted. I don't know if he posted in the Discord or what about where Bass is from. Boy, you talk about a long lineage of good high school.
He's a stud, dude. He's a stud. It's a shame what
high school
happened to him.
players
He
out of
sure
there.
was pretty good, man.
Yeah, but talk about the lineage of high school players from there.
From Longview?
No, from where Bass
where
is from.
Andy went to school? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good. They're good. Yeah, he doesn't have many delusions, Shotty. I promise.
No, I'm.
He's like one of the few. But Shotty's gonna mess with you. He played at Georgia. It's gonna do it. Got to do it. Yeah, Big Trent played at Longview. There's other guys.
The problem with ETN is he wants to be a bell cow back. He wants to be the guy.
What does that even mean?
He wants all the touches.
Why would you want that when you can still get 1,000 yards and not freaking get?
I don't know. I don't know why, but that's what he wants.
The tread off of your tires.
That's why he left Florida.
Cedric Benson. Cedric Benson would have been a lot better in the league if they hadn't. High school and college. Cedric left.
You think he knows?
Cedric up the middle. Cedric left. Cedric right. Cedric up the middle. High school and college.
You think that he would know with his brother playing in the league. I'm going to tell you what Georgia's going to do. Georgia's going to run the wheels off of him.
Is he going to Georgia?
Yeah, I think so. That's the smoke. Am I worried about OU and Texas coming to the SEC? No, I think
he's worried about OU.
I'm not worried about anybody coming to the SEC. It's the best conference in the nation. I like the competition. I think that OU and Texas are the two best teams to be able to transcend from any of the conferences to come into the SEC because they have the money, they have the boosters, they have the football facilities to compete in the SEC. I don't think there's two other brands that are more SEC worthy.
No,
definitely. I don't think now. Do I think that there is going to be some rude awakenings?
It's in the footprint of the SEC.
Absolutely. Do I think there's going to be some rude awakenings and you guys are going to be pissed off when Arkansas sneaks up and smacks you in the mouth? I think so.
You
say no. I do. I think there's going to be.
Look. On this show, we're not delusional, thinking they're going to go and win a Natty and win the SEC next year. Okay, nobody said that here. I said that if they can get to 10-2 next year, that's a hell of a season. Even 9-3 is a hell of a season. I'm somewhere between 8-4, 9-3, most likely is my thoughts, my prediction, because I think it's not whether you can beat Alabama or beat Georgia, which they don't play Georgia, but they get Alabama.
Or Ole Miss.
It's not those guys. It's whether it's the back-to-back after you played those guys. When you go to LSU, who do you got next?
And where do you got to go? You got to go to Florida next and go get bludgeoned to death in the heat?
Correct. And even Mizzou. I mean, Mizzou has got you better have
Mizzou,
your defense on. You better have your defense on right now with Mizzou.
I'm going to tell you this.
Because Luther Burton is a fucking problem.
I don't know if Drinkowitz got Coach of the Year, but the guy should have.
Maybe.
You see how they're recruiting now?
For Mizzou? They got Williams Winery. Come on.
They just got a couple other guys
high school
too.
Kids. They're paying high school kids. That's why.
But it's legal. I think that I really think that
I know Stephen G. And I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is that I think that the fact that you have you play a big game, right? You get the
play
Alabama
Georgia
game. Like Alabama may have the worst of it next year because it sounds like from what they've leaked so far, Alabama gets Oklahoma the week before the Iron Bowl. That's probably bad for them because they're on the road at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So then they go back.
What's your schedule next year?
They play on the road at LSU. They play on the road at Auburn and on the road at Ole Miss.
Good luck. Good luck at Death Valley. at night.
Oh, that's a loss. You have to expect that's a loss. It'll be a night game. It's a loss.
And then you just pray to God that you have Vandy or somebody after that because
Correct.
they're gonna bludgeon you. That's what we're talking
You better
about.
be at
It's
home.
not.
Well, South Carolina could be after that one. I don't know, but they definitely Oklahoma got the worst of the two schedules of the schools coming in. Texas got Georgia, but they got them at home, and then they don't. I mean, they don't play Alabama next year. They don't. I don't know.
They play Florida in the swamp early. I know that, which they're going to have a.
Everything.
But everybody says South Carolina.
It's hard to win in the swamp. They suck, dude. Come on.
Okay, I'm going to say this. It's not the team. It's the environment. Oh my goodness.
Why is Oklahoma at LSU a loss? Because it's
Death Valley at night.
Death Valley at nighttime for sure. It's probably going to be one of the early games.
No, LSU doesn't really play any early games. They like them Cajuns all drunk and rowdy.
Well, but their kind of rivals are usually towards the end of the year, which is your A&M and Arkansas and stuff, Alabama.
Jay Morris, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how many starters. It's the environment. I'm telling you.
If they have any kind of defense whatsoever, dude, they just don't lose there. Look at their record there. I'm just saying that's one of those ones that it's liable to be a tough one. Hey, listen, I'm just not counting it as a win. Okay, I would suspect that you're probably going to lose that one. I'm saying 8-4, 9-3 is still a good season for Oklahoma next year. I think they were a year ahead this year. Yeah, I'm excited for it too. Listen, I'm excited for it.
Tennessee comes to Norman. Okay, so listen, if you got a lot of home games, then the next year's going to be a bludgeoning.
Nope, we don't have a lot of home games. We've got 3 home games. We've got South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama. Texas is technically a
neutral.
It's a neutral, but it's technically a home game.
Yeah.
So we got the bulk of them on the road.
Shoo. It's tough.
Yeah. It's just a tough schedule. They got a tougher draw than what Texas got for sure.
You think they did that on purpose?
Yeah, probably.
Give Texas a little easier schedule.
Yeah, screw Texas, but whatever. It's fine. It is what it is. It is what it is. It's going to be. I mean, look. The thing is the next year it should even itself out.
Yeah, you hope so.
My thought is you're supposed to go to the 9-game conference schedule. I'm wondering if that didn't just get screwed up.
You talk about gauntlet. Go look at Florida's schedule next year. I'm trying to find 5 wins.
Yep. Yeah, but and here's the biggest thing I'm going to say about it. The reason that I've said already that I think 2025 is Oklahoma's year to really compete for the Natty. Anyway, just because of youth and everything else, and I think that the way they're recruiting, I think it's 25. The other thing I think is that you got to learn the lay of the land in the SEC, man. It's going to take some time. The first year, you don't go in and win in the first year. There's no way they win the freaking conference title in the first year. I just don't. I wouldn't never expect such a thing. As good as I think they could be, I just feel like that's one of those things.
I think OU is going to do. I think you got the right coach, right, to prepare that team. And I've already said in a previous video that I did. It's one of those things where they are building a SEC team, but listen, guys, it's tough. It can make a very average team bad fast. That's what the SEC does.
That would have passed if Oklahoma and Texas would have been voting. That would have passed the 9 games. They didn't get to vote, and they'll vote again next year. It's going to move to that unless all this conference stuff about the playoff gets crazier. But that was Saban doing that. His paranoia. But it was going to pass if Oklahoma and Texas, they were going to vote for it.
For what?
For the 9-game SEC schedule. It only failed by 1 vote. And both Oklahoma and Texas were going to, the 9-game block So you would go the 6-3-3 model.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I think
the 3 protected rivals is great. You get everybody play, even if they stay at the 8th, though, you still play everybody within 4 years. I don't necessarily mind that, but I don't like that you only get 1 protected rivalry.
Yeah, I want more protected rivalries.
I do too.
And I think with Texas and OU coming to the SEC, there's going to be some rivalries born.
I think that the Florida game would be a cool rivalry for us. That's for Oklahoma fans. I think that's a freaking cool game. To go to the Swamp every other year, it's a tough one. But, I mean, it'd be fun.
And talk about a team with a little history already.
The one fan base that's as crazy as all you guys.
Yeah, for sure. They're nuts. They're good.
And me too. I'm like that too. I'm
but I think it's because that Florida and OU have played each other a couple times for some big games. Natty.
John, let me ask you a question. If they don't, if so, you're expecting your expectations from what I'm reading here. You say, oh, you will get up for these games better than an empty Kansas Stadium. We lost at Podunk, Stillwater. Bullshit, man. Look, championship teams get up for every game everywhere.
Yep.
If that was, I'm not, and this quarterback.
What was the number one complaint from Uncle Lou?
He still has zero. I mean, he has no experience. He's a sophomore being backed up by 2 freshmen unless they get somebody in the portal.
Hey, and I'm going to tell you this. What happens if he gets hurt?
Yeah, you
takes is 1 shot.
Backing up. You got Texas back, 2 freshmen backing him up, true freshmen. Although I love Michael Hawkins. And I think Michael Hawkins could push. By the way, I think that Michael could very well push him.
Yeah, but you don't. We saw what that did to Bo Nix. You do not put a freshman in the SEC landscape.
It's a great idea. I don't think it's a
defense
great idea.
is too good.
No, and listen, I believe that Jackson it's his time, but I also think that to expect him to go in as a true sophomore with 0 experience, other than a couple of snaps here and there, and playing the second half against BYU.
Yeah, and to go into some of these games like night at LSU.
Guys. That's a lot to ask, guys. So if they don't do that, John, are you gonna freak out about it? Because I think it's too much to expect. Who does Georgia lose? How much do you lose next year, Shawty, in Georgia? I mean, you got pretty much everybody coming back.
Brock Bowers is gone. Oh, McConkey, which they've already fixed that in the portal.
They're fine.
Yeah, they're fine.
Quarterback's coming back.
Yep. I'm just going to say this about Georgia. You say championship teams don't get up and sleepwalk. And what was the complaint from Georgia fans? They got up and sleepwalk a couple times. They thought they were better than they were, and they end up getting beat by Bama. And it's one of those things. So,
John, lesser quarterbacks carved up this defense last year. They better make a big jump on defense for them to do it. It's not about the quarterback, bro.
I watch SEC title game. Those quarterbacks don't scare me. It's not the quarterbacks. It's the trenches. I'm telling you. Bigger, faster, stronger. That's what's in the SEC.
Mm-hmm. Everywhere. And the trenches are bigger everywhere, even the bad teams.
Yep.
It's going to be an adjustment. Look, have high expectations at your own peril, because then
don't come on here after a loss and complain.
Oh no, that'll happen. And that's part of it. It's just like Florida fans, they act the same. I mean, look, to some extent, so do me and K. Chris. But I got to tell you, if they do 8-4 or better, I'm great. I'm good to go.
I think you gotta chalk that up as a win, especially with a young team.
Yeah, and I again, 2025, I think that they're really competing. Because now you've got it's the second year for Stoney and Nigel and Danny Okoye. PJ's in his third year. You know, same with Peyton Bowen.
But I will say this, you'll have a lot of
Seatbelt Vickers and Josiah Wagner. All these guys that have been coming in these early classes are now they're seasoned and ready to go.
You do say that, but I'm just going to tell you, that's when. So the SEC right now is one of the younger conferences, right? We're not like the Pac-12 that has 7-year super seniors and quarterbacks and stuff like that. The SEC is very, very young. So, like, Florida had 7 freshmen All-Americans, super young. So now those guys are juniors, right? Those 7 All-Americans are juniors. So it's one of those things where...
Hey, Thunder OU, have you watched Ladd McConkey play? That dude's a bad dude.
Yeah, he's when he's not injured, he's
great.
great.
On Connie Pee-wee's Playhouse, bro. Wow. It's funny.
We'll see.
Happy to see it all.
That's why we play the games.
Steven G, you're saying 9-3 is your floor?
Oof. Good luck.
Man, that's I'm
okay. So
I'm waiting until they're gonna release the schedule right after signing day.
Yes. Are you conservative because you were a sports writer and you just know how it is, and taking the fanship out of it? Is that why? Do you think that the average Oklahoma fan doesn't realize what they're about to go through?
I think most Oklahoma fans do, but this Oklahoma look. You guys have won a national title in the last 12 years or whatever it was since, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's been over 20. And we've been close a bunch. And so everybody's frothing at the bit to get there and forgetting the fact that the team was gutted. And they're just not, they're young and they're getting rebuilt. But I think you have to give it time. And again, the SEC is so much better than the freaking shitty conference that Oklahoma's been playing in. This is a new world.
Yeah. I think that people think that, like, they see Auburn and they're like, oh, that's such a terrible team. But if you place Auburn in some of these other conferences, like, they're beating the shit out of a lot of people.
In the early days they were, but they haven't been like that in a long time, Robbie.
I don't think Ole Miss just won 10 games.
Just what he just said right there. And that's a road game. Ole Miss, LSU are both. If they're back to back,
and they are getting talent. Ole Miss,
and Ole Miss
is getting talent.
God forbid if you end up freaking playing. I think if you play LSU and Auburn back to back, you're screwed.
Oh, and Mississippi State, to go to Mississippi State is no cake. I'm just telling you, it's no cakewalk. You got to hear the damn cowbells.
Oh, the 13th. Okay, that's right. Yep. Oh yeah, we're gonna do a watch party on that. You're right. I'm gonna write that down for the schedule release.
Oh, okay.
We may just do it on. We may just do it for our members though. Look, Jordan Hare. It's that good Michigan book learn in there. Jordan Hare, like Michael Jordan Hare, H-A-R-R-E. Yeah. Penn State, whatever, bro. And I don't think that Oklahoma necessarily, and everybody tells you about how it's haunted down there. Oklahoma hasn't had to deal with any of that, and they're not a rival for OU. So it's crazy for Alabama. I just watched New Mexico State win over there. I'm not really worried about that, but I also think that Auburn is going to be better year 2 under Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze can coach.
Oh, and he's recruiting like his job is on the line.
Yeah. Guys,
So, do you think the average fan base, the average OU fan base,
hunted? I don't agree with that. I think that no matter what, OU's always hunted. You get a target on your back no matter what. You're Oklahoma.
Oh, a fresh team in the SEC?
You're not.
And if you're a fresh,
they're still looking for you. They're still looking for Oklahoma, no matter what.
This is what all the SEC coaches are going to say. They're going to say, do not let this this Big 12 champion or this Big 12 team come in here and smack you in the face, because we shouldn't have let them in, and we're going to show them. That's what you're going to get the first year. You are going to get the best of the SEC.
I think what Oklahoma fans are sick of, and I'll speak for them in this, is that I'm sick of hearing people from Vandy or Mississippi State and shit like that, Kentucky fans telling us that we're going to be Nebraska in the SEC.
No, you're not going to be.
People are sick of shit about it. That's the thing.
I think you're going to be a mid-tier SEC team the first couple of years. I think you're going to be a Florida. You're going to be I knew somebody was Kentucky on a good year. You're going to be Ole Miss. I don't.
I had to do it that was just for the Sooner Magic comment.
I just hope that I hope that OU fans have patience, because it's might get a little rocky the first year. I hope that it's not the fire, Venable train starts firing up.
I think that Oklahoma is improving and getting better all the time, and I think they will. I do think that. I think that I more feel like I'm less worried about them doing worse than 8-4. I think that there's a better chance of them going 10-2 than 7-5.
I don't even think the record matters for the first 2 years. Just don't get heisty and fire your coach.
What I will say, oh no, they're not going to do that. He's got to get 5 years, or they're going to have to pay a lot. Basically, the whole contract.
That's all I'm saying. Be patient.
You have to give it to him. Oh, look, with the way that he's recruiting, and again, I think that the problem is with Oklahoma fans is recalibrating expectations. That's not something that we're very good at as a whole.
Yeah.
And there's certainly there's factions of the OU fan base that are absolutely crazy, like the ones that have been screaming for and talking shit about DG.
Yeah.
Silly.
Or your top offensive coordinator.
He had to leave for the money. They gave him $2 million to go to Oregon. I get it.
Your offensive coordinator leaves and everybody was so happy. Hope you got another good one.
They did. Seth Luttrell's been a head coach. He's had top 15 offenses. He's called plays longer than Jeff Lebby has.
Lebby was a good one.
Lebby's a good recruiter.
That's what you need.
Well,
I mean, a top offense. You're scoring.
He didn't lose anybody. He hasn't lost.
You were scoring a bunch of points. You can't tell me you guys weren't scoring a bunch of points.
I'm not telling you that. I would tell you that I think his play calling was uneven. It had nothing to do with DG though. There will be no DG shots fired in here. I don't play. Okay, let me find that damn schedule. You need me to let you go, or you want to hang around for this?
Go ahead, put it up.
All right.
I got a little time still. I just gotta get some graphics done so I can release that video tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, so where the hell is that? They're on the SEC thing, but we'll see it.
The schedule?
Yeah. Look, guys, all I'm trying to tell you guys is not to have too high of hopes and expectations to where you're going to freaking lose your shit if they don't win the national championship next year, because they're probably not gonna.
I can say you're about 2 years behind Georgia right now with what they got in the stable.
Yeah.
And if you don't think Kirby's going to come out and make a point that they're the best team and try to just bludgeon everybody to death. Oh,
he's pissed,
my
right?
God. Yeah.
No doubt.
You know that there was Georgia fans calling for his job?
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let me pull this up real quick. Then we'll talk about it. Oh, that's the stupidest thing. You know what, though? I've heard people saying, like, you know, if he'd have won it this year, he might as well just retire, because what are you going to do after that?
Well, everybody was like, "Oh, you can't get over the Saban hump. I think he needs to go, and we find somebody else."
Yeah.
Like what?
Oh, silly talk. All right. Yeah, a push. I got it. I know what you're talking about. All right. So Oklahoma
So
on the road
Bama.
or at home is Bama. I think that's probably a push. So that'd be a half. South Carolina's a win. Tennessee is a win. Texas is a win.
You're gonna take a win over Tennessee, that high-powered offense.
Yep.
Heupel, you don't believe in them?
Home. No, it's at home.
Okay.
They're not
Texas 50-50.
I guess you could say 50-50 for Texas if you want, but I'm never picking Texas. You're crazy.
Okay. Auburn, I don't know. Much improved Auburn.
That's a push. So that's
LSU
a
loss.
LSU's a loss.
Ole Miss a loss.
I think it's a push.
10-2 this year, and loading up.
I think 10-2, 9-3. So if you might lose Missouri or Ole Miss.
But realistically,
I think that you push on Alabama, you push on Auburn, so that could get you there, right?
Realistically, there is a chance you lose LSU, Ole Miss, Missouri, in a three game skid.
Well, if they put them in all three on the road back to back, how many times you get three in a row in the SEC on the road? I think we beat Mizzou also.
You think you beat Mizzou?
I do.
Oof.
And I think, listen, you know why I think we beat Ole Miss? Because the next time that Ole Miss wins a big game, the only time, except for the LSU win this year.
Yeah.
He doesn't win big games. Come on.
What Texas?
He pushes equals a loss. That's what I said. I have one loss for sure, LSU. I have a push with Bama. I have a push with Auburn. That's a loss. That's two losses. And then you could lose. I'm saying wins against Ole Miss and Mizzou.
But you could lose one of those for sure.
Yeah. And you could lose to Texas too. Not that I would ever admit that. You just never know.
I think Tennessee is gonna.
I think eight. That's why I said 8-4 is in play.
I think Tennessee could walk up and sleep punch somebody. You know what I mean? I think
not Oklahoma. Won't. You think that they're not going to get? Josh Heupel's an Oklahoma guy. He's getting their best.
Yeah, but you're getting his best.
Okay.
It depends what their quarterback does, right? We'll see if Cookie Monster
is kid, right? He's a brand new
any good. Yeah.
Let me see where Georgia is, where your losses are that you're talking about there, Shotty. Georgia. Where are your pushes at? Texas, I guess. Bama. Or you got in Bama as a loss on the road.
What's white? White means they're home.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Or neutral.
Home or neutral. But neutral could also be in a way.
I don't like that. I don't like that Texas late or possibly late.
Yep.
And I don't like Bama. I don't like Bama not at Bama for Georgia.
I'm not that worried about Tennessee. I just think that they've actually played Tennessee in recent memory and beaten them 2 years in a row, all man away. course, they weren't that good then, but that's what
Golly,
Butch was there.
look at that. Look at that Florida schedule.
Is LSU for sure at night?
For sure.
I think
they don't really play a night game.
Should it be? Shouldn't it? I mean, I guess if it was late in the season and one of the teams doesn't have a very good record, they could move it. But 2:30, you got to remember that 2:30 is prime time for the SEC. The night game isn't necessarily for their favorite game. Their favorite game is 2:30.
Yeah, the 6:30, 7:30 kickoff is kind of the second tier. But Louisiana to them that's a prime time game.
Correct.
Louisiana
Oklahoma would love that. Oklahoma loves playing. They've been playing 11 o'clock games for years now.
That shit's over. Get over that. You ain't getting that no more. That's done. That's over. 11 o'clock game.
That's good. Everybody wants to be able to tailgate, so that's awesome.
Yeah, you ain't getting that. And I'm going to tell you, LSU is going to do everything in their power to get it as a night game so they can get at home rowdy as can be. They stay out on Bourbon Street all night long the night before, and then they come into Baton Rouge, and then it's a ruckus.
8-4 is in play, of course. Title of game is in play, of course. SEC offenses are not scary. All the OCs are being hired from the Big 12. Yeah, John. Okay. I think you're underestimating.
I think you're optimistic. Is what that's
little called. Underestimating on them, man. But hey, I hope you're right. I will gladly be wrong about an 11-1 SEC title matchup because it would take 11-1.
I don't know. I don't see it.
I don't either.
All right, I gotta get cracking on some of the stuff.
10-2, and even possibly 9-3, you could be in the playoff.
Oh yeah, in the SEC you can, yeah. In the ACC, you're a bottom dweller. Might as well go just 0-12.
I'm glad that we're going to see where Jackson is too. Okay, bud. I'm going to get out of here too. It's time for me to go. I'm going to talk a little bit about this other stuff, but I need a second to go to the restroom. Guys, hold tight. I'm going to play that little commercial for you guys while Cody takes off, and I'm going to use the restroom. I'll be right back.
We'll see you guys. Be looking out for High Top Sports Recruiting. We're going to have some more OU content coming to you. I think I'm going to do the linebacker edges, and then the DBs, and then offensive video 2.0 with your quarterback and a couple other players. So yeah, super excited for that.
Brother, appreciate you. Thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Talk to you soon.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cody Sprague, the professor from High Top Sports, High Top Recruiting. If you're not already a subscriber, go subscribe, please. Be right back. Did it just not go off there? All right. Whew. Sorry, guys. My molars were floating. Needed a minute. I was at 9-3, 10-2. And my thing is, Boganowski. I'll let him know. I'll let him know about that. We had to have a chit chat about that first one. I was like, dude. You respect. No. We respect your damn opinion too, Shawty. A lot. Kim's opinion is pretty gold too. Hankster, all my boys, man. The only thing, guys, I'm not the dude that's gonna be real big in Kool-Aid drinking. You have to see, you got to see it first, man. It's their first year in the, it's just holding them to kind of a unlikely standard this early this soon after being gutted. That's my thoughts, but that's just me. All right. What else? What's up, Pablo D Pool? Texas is about to win it all, boys. No, they're not. No, they're not. Nope. They're not going to make it through. They're going to get carved up by Washington, bro. Come on now. Yeah, that's where I'm at too, bro. That's where I'm at, Mike. And look, I think that's a great. If you hit 9-3, you have an opportunity to get in the playoff next year. I think you probably need 10-2, but I think you have an opportunity at 9-3. The thing is, no matter if they make the playoff or not the first year out of the SEC, I expect them to probably the year after that. And that's when I see them really competing anyway. Have a year under the freshman guys coming in this year's belt, which honestly, man, and if you guys were watching that breakdown that Cody did, it was awesome. But just going back and we were talking about it on the Discord earlier. Think about the fact that you're going to have Okoye, PJ, Stoney, Nigel / Jayden Jackson in the game at the same time at points in the next few years. They're not beating Washington either, but they're for sure not doing that. You're optimistic. You saw them fall apart 2 years in a row. They fell apart. They've fallen apart 10, 12 years in a row. But the difference is that they've never been in a long time as good as they were in the first half, and they're still really good at turning them over. I'm not worried about the defense. That's one thing that they're getting right. It takes players, man. It takes players. And what did you see? It's not so much the linebackers and stuff is in the secondary as it was that the D-line kind of stopped getting pressure. They kind of stopped getting pressure. Injuries. Yeah. And that's where I want to say is like, let them have their growing pains. That's where, when you get battle tested. Now, I think that this is a supremely confident group. And the thing that I love about the D-line so much is that they're all mean, nasty dudes, right? Okoye's like that. Stoney and Jayden Jackson are. And go watch Nigel play basketball even, and you see that they're prone to violence. I love it. You need that. This isn't that soft Lincoln Riley program anymore. And that's the good news. Now, don't expect everybody else to believe or understand that. It's great. In fact, let them freaking underestimate. But I'd rather shoot low and jump high. I think they were a year ahead of schedule this year. But I also think that it's unfair to expect Jackson to just go out there and be the best quarterback in the country as a true sophomore that hasn't played. He's going to have one start under his belt. Yeah. I love it. We could have been, but think about it, John. They could have been 10-2 the year before that. 5 of those 7 losses were by 1 score. 4 of them by 3 points. The Tech game, they made that field goal. Sorry, not sorry, Tech fans. They made that field goal. Look, they did have a good year though. They had a better year than what really we expected them to. 8-4, 9-3 was on the table. The schedule wasn't. You didn't have to deal with Kansas State, which is always a pain in the ass for you. So you lose to Kansas. The Oklahoma State game. They could. We're not down on them. I think that they were down on the fans that were down on anybody. It was down on the offense and Dillon Gabriel, which instead of being down on the ones that could have made a big difference, which was the defense. I'm ready for the SEC. Can't wait. I think it's going to be a blast. As a creator, it's going to be fun. I can't wait. I'm going to be every road game. I don't know if I'll make it to the Palace next year or not, but I actually probably will. But my plan is to go to every road game. I want the SEC experience. It's gonna be fun. Who all has plans to go to the bowl game? Alamo Bowl. Well, yeah, a bit. I don't know that he was hurt. I think that the only problem, here's one thing. We've said this last week. Dillon, the only problem with Dillon is that he's not Caleb Williams or Baker or whatever. And there's not like one thing that you can point at and say he's great at it, but he's really good at everything. Right? His arm is okay, but it's not good enough to be late, and he was late on deep throws. He hesitated on those deep shots. If he doesn't do that, then he's even better. Look, though, the guy had freaking 30 TDs to 6 interceptions and had 12 on the ground. That's 42 touchdowns. I think he had 1 fumble, 7 turnovers. It wasn't a DG problem. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who are you talking about? Oh, you're a Texas fan, Pool, huh? You're not gonna win, bro. You still got you. So I think that, and I think that that's what has to have the biggest improvement. I don't think offensively. I think if you can score 35, which they'll probably do that a lot. Alabama is going to be tough to score like that on. Georgia would be tough like that to score on. A&M. Right. Oh, yeah. I got one for you there, Mr. Poole. Throw him down, Mafia. Throw him down. How you like that? DG was absolutely a class act. I'll still say that, and look, I think a lot of people took that video that we did the other night as saying that was what DG, I don't know that was what DG was trying to do. It was more me and Coach and whoever else, obviously Sippin was on. It was me doing it for him, if anything. I think it was wrong that the way that DG got treated his first year there, and all of it over him not being Caleb Williams. Explain this to me, though, Jeffrey, because what kept you from getting to the playoffs all these years other than you guys just being crap? Gaggers. You guys didn't just get rid of his... Did y'all just kick him or what? Oh, no. Never mind. Don't. You're not going to the national. Even if you go to the national championship, what does that matter if you don't win it? What does that matter if you don't win it? Second place, the first loser. Big deal. Oklahoma won 6 freaking conference championships in a row. What does that mean? You hurt my feelings? No, sorry. Most people don't even, I mean, I think we're the only channel that has a horns down emoji. Only if you are a member of the mafia can you use it, though. One of the bigger perks, along with the Discord and stuff. What's up, Matt? Yeah, you're almost too late. It's about that time. I got to go to work. 34:30. So we talked about that earlier too. I don't know how Lincoln Riley's had now 3 Heisman Trophy winners and hasn't won a playoff game. He didn't even make the playoffs last year when he got a Heisman. Is what it is. You can't throw that number. You're not getting that up on my screen. And you lost this year. So say all you want to, but you got beat by Oklahoma. We still got bragging rights on you. They're not winning it. John. What is that? Oh, yes, they do. And Texas just now broke away a tie with freaking Baylor and K-State for second in the league. Come on, man. Oklahoma has 50 conference championships and more natties too. So you can say whatever you want, but you still lost to Oklahoma. If you don't win the national championship, you don't have bragging rights. That doesn't have nothing to do with us. That doesn't have nothing to do with you. The fact that Oklahoma, this has nothing to do with Texas. You got beat by Oklahoma State when you were beating them by 17 in the third quarter last season. What's the difference? That's true. All you can do is if D-Pool, if you guys don't win the natty, you and oh boy, if you guys don't win the natty, you don't have bragging rights this year. Because all you got you and Zuniga. Live with it. I'm not mad that they're out of the playoffs. I don't think that they were going to win the playoffs. Okay, good for you. You still got to do that 3 more times to catch up with Oklahoma in playoffs too. So unless you win the national championship, none of this matters. All right, guys. But congrats to Texas for beating Okie Light. Whoop-de-woo. Finally majored, yeah. It's 12 a.m. Available in the store, folks. Devil Dogs. Go check it out. There's a few. I saw with that defensive lineman from. It's actually a couple defensive linemen from Florida that look like they could end up there. The one kid is an Oklahoma kid and was excited when he got the offer. That's not true. That's not true. If you don't win the national championship, then you got your first freaking conference title in 14 years and still didn't beat Oklahoma. Yeah. When you win the whole thing, then you can talk. You have one stat over Oklahoma, and it's because, back when the football was a beach ball and nobody had a helmet. Well, I watched you guys barely beat KSU because they missed a freaking extra point in regulation. I do watch it. I saw every game you played. Every one of them. I think Texas is good. I just don't think that I know that what are you going to tell me about your secondary? How are you going to do that? What are you going to do with your secondary when you're going up against the best receiving core and one of the best passing quarterbacks in a long time? What are you going to do about that? Are you going to answer something like of significance, or are you guys just going to say stupid shit? Because if so, then I'm just going to go ahead. We'll be done. TCU beat you guys last year too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, how is your secondary, which is definitely the worst part of that team? How does it go up against the best receiving core in the country and Michael Penix? Yeah. Same for and then Wyoming was not an easy win for them. They didn't pull away from BYU till late. Should have lost to K-State. Should have lost to TCU. We'll just throw another TD to Sweat. Oh, okay. Against Washington? Midnight in Texas still sucks. Yeah, the secondary's not good, man. You guys are in trouble. How are you going to deal with that? I want to know. You haven't said anything. All right, boys. I got to get to work. So I'm going to let you guys get out of here. The last thing I'll say to you, Zuniga, in year 2, you guys went 8-5. The first year we went 5. You went 5-7, missed the bowl. Oklahoma's ahead of you where you were, and they beat you in year 2 with the new coach. So it took BV did in year 2 what it took 10 years for Sark to do: win 10 games. Well, there you go, gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate that. If you hadn't already hit the like button, and you guys can hit the dislike if you feel like it, Texas guys, but I let you talk, so do hit something. All right. Help us out with that. We appreciate it. Easiest way to help the program is to make sure it helps the algorithm, gets us out there. If you'd like to become a member of the Hall of Fame Mafia, we'd love to have you. It's right there, youtube.com. You just hit that join button that's right there next to the like button. You can become a member for as low as $2.99 a month. Don't forget to check out DevilDog's Brew and Beans. hofmedia.us/coffee. And hey, until Sunday, they have that deal. It's 65% off most things in the Fanatics store if you use our link, hofmedia.us/fanatics. Get your gear. Good Christmas shopping time to do that, right? So there it is. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We will talk to you on the next one. And horns down, Boomerstone.